Welcome into the NFL Opening Line Report, Super Bowl edition, Super Bowl 58. We are setting you up here with the OLR, San Francisco 49ers, Kansas City Chiefs. We will be breaking down the line movement for the upcoming Super Bowl as we got 2 weeks till the big game. I am Drew Martin, and like always, joined by one of the best sports bettors, the analysis in the NFL. It is coming your way from Teddy Covers. Teddy, happy Monday morning to you, man. Welcome into the show.
So my first Super Bowl in Las Vegas was Broncos-Falcons. And I've been here for every one since. So we're going to break down today. We're going to look at a little historical perspective of what to do with Super Bowls. We're going to talk about a general props approach. We're going to talk about a general betting approach. But like we like to do on each and every opening line report, we're going to start with where this line opened and where it's going. So we'll do that in just a minute, Drew. How are you today, my friend?
I'm doing good. I mean,
small talk.
No, for sure. Not too much of it. I mean, AFC, NFC Championship Sunday in the books, guys. And I mean, overall, it was entertaining. You know, definitely question marks from both of the games that I have here, Teddy. But it does set us up, kind of teeing it up for the Super Bowl. And again, guys, it's Super Bowl 58, Sunday, February 11th, Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas, Nevada, not far from where Teddy's talking right now. It's where the Raiders play their home games. It's 6:30 Eastern, 2 Sundays from now, San Francisco 49ers, Kansas City Chiefs. We are seeing the 49ers here, Teddy, minus 1 point favorites. Road favorites, guys, obviously in Las Vegas, 47.5 being the total, Teddy. So I'll throw it over to you. OLR report style here, San Francisco, Kansas City for the Super Bowl.
So, of course, we had a look-ahead line for the 4 potential matchups. We talked about it on last week's show. And there was movement off of the openers. The look-ahead line, the 4 ones that I saw, was San Fran -2 over the Ravens, San Fran -3 over the Chiefs, the Ravens -5.5 over the Lions, and the Chiefs -4.5 over the Lions. During the week, last week, the 49ers -2 against the Ravens got bet down to pick 'em. So that line didn't hold. That being said, Baltimore didn't get to the big game. So we put that aside. And we look at the 49ers -3 versus the Chiefs as the look-ahead line. There was one book, let's call them out, FanDuel. They opened -3. It was a bad line, even though the look-ahead line was -3. Just about every other book, not just about, every other book that I saw opened either -2.5 for San Francisco or -2. So we had the one book open with the 3. That was the look-ahead line. Everyone else either opened 2.5 or 2. And I'm like, this line can't hold. It can't hold at 2.5. And it didn't. Why not? Well, San Fran in the postseason, 0-2 against the spread. They blew the cover against Detroit. And really the defense failed them in both games. And when you want to talk about crazy comebacks, let's just say San Fran's lucky to be here. All right. They got every break. The Lions' 4th down fails not once but twice. Campbell going. He was second to goal from the 1. And they found a way to screw it up and blow a timeout before scoring a touchdown, which affected their entirety of the game. And how they call the running play there to force them to call the timeout, it baffles me. That was one that really, really, really baffled me. While we like Dan Campbell, yesterday was probably not his best work. They had a 51-yard completion off a defender's face mask. I mean, they were extraordinarily lucky to win that game. And the fact that they had a chance to cover at the end, that they were up 10 in that contest. Sure, we'll give San Fran credit for making plays when they were down, but most of that was Lions fails. And the betting market saw it that way. Meanwhile, Kansas City went 3-0 ATS in the playoffs. They won the Super Bowl last year. They're not beating second-tier competition, some team that hasn't been in the Super Bowl in 57 years. They just beat Buffalo in Buffalo and Baltimore in Baltimore. Mahomes and Reed are the modern day Belichick and Brady right now in the sense of bigger brands than the sport itself. Of course, Kansas City was going to take the money at +3. Of course, they were going to take the money at 2.5. And you know me, Drew. I'm talking to people last night. Lots of people on the Super Bowl coming out. The text, my phone's blowing up, all of that. And as I'm talking to people, who do you like? Who you betting? Who you like? Who you betting? You know how many people who said they were going to lay the price with San Fran? And again, I'm just texting one person after the next. Serious bettors, friends, casual bettors, all kinds of people. You know how many people I talked to last night? They're like, yeah, I'm going to lay the points with San Fran. Zero. Not the pros, not the Joes, not anybody. Line couldn't hold, and it didn't, and it hasn't. And obviously, we're down to -1 this morning. Now, what will the line do from here? That's the key question. 147.5 is where we're looking at. San Fran is 1. Can the Niners hold as favorites? Now, a couple of bookmakers who I've either read or talked to in the last 24 hours, and they give me disparate opinions. One guy says, this game's closing, pick 'em. Heck, we could see Kansas City close as the favorite. Another guy said, no, we'll see some 49er money. The wise guys are going to come in on San Fran. We'll see 49er money. This could go back up in 2.5. So when I get opposite reactions from two different bookmakers, the answer is I don't know. I don't know how much support San Fran is going to get from the wise guys. I'm confident that they're not going to get a ton of support from the public at large. And obviously, we're seeing the very early money come heavily for Kansas City. 3 taken out, 2.5 taken out, 2 taken out. Now we're looking at 1, and some of the books that cater to recreational bettors, they're at 1 even money right now. 1 plus 100. Now, obviously, we talk about the Super Bowl. What tends to happen in the Super Bowl is that the bettors who like the favorite will take the favorite minus the points, and the bettors who like the underdog will take the underdog on the money line. That's not going to happen in this Super Bowl. There's going to be a lot of money line action for both teams because there's no real favorite in this contest sitting at 1 right now. So that particular strategy that tends to work very well. It tends to be a positive expectation strategy in the Super Bowl of lay your points with the favorite, and your best value is often with the dog plus the points because so much of the dog money comes in on the money line as opposed to plus the points. We're not going to get that this year. And again, I'm seeing -110s both way right now on the money line. I'm seeing -115, -105. So this is as close to pick 'em without being pick 'em as you're going to find as we speak. I would not be shocked if this line does move to pick 'em. I really wouldn't. That said, we could see some wise guy support from San Francisco. It's a fascinating handicap, Drew. We'll talk about that in just a minute. We talk about who these two teams actually are right now. Because the 49ers have this great statistical profile. But is that San Francisco in February? Or is that San Francisco in November?
Right, over the course of the year. That's kind of the question mark as sports bettors, Teddy, is how much to factor in kind of the full season metrics rather than just, what's happened recently, which if you're new to sports betting out there, guys, one thing I would add to what Teddy said, it's very correlated with what he was talking about. You could almost project where the money was coming because look at recently between these two teams. Kansas City, Teddy talked about it, winning and covering all 3 games in the playoffs. They've actually won and covered 5 straight games. And when you put that up against the 49ers, their last 5, they're 1-4 against the spread. So they've been burning cash lately. That's a big telltale sign of where the money is going to come in. And for the Super Bowl, I think it's even exponentially more. So therefore, that's why, in my opinion, we've seen a little bit of money here towards the Chiefs. Teddy, I mean, we got to talk about the total as well. We are seeing 47.5 here. We get controlled climate, fast track in Allegiant Stadium. It's where the Raiders play their home games, where UNLV plays their home games. There's not going to be any weather issues. What are we thinking overall, total-wise, 47.5?
So this number is not going to move a whole lot. I'll tell you that right now. The total is going to sit where it is. When we think about Kansas City is such a fascinating scenario because Kansas City coming off a dead nuts under game in Baltimore, and obviously the Ravens turned it over a couple times at or near the goal line in that contest to deflate the scoring. But Kansas City, the MO for the Chiefs is the MO of an under team. Mm-hmm. Long, slow drives, You're not seeing Kansas City with these, 13, 14 drives a game. Kansas City's they get the ball 8 times, 9 times a game. So long, slow, methodical drives, lack of big plays from the Chiefs offense. It's all dink and dunk, and it's working for them, obviously, here in the postseason. Of course, Kansas City is here not because of Patrick Mahomes and company, because their defense has been elite all season. Not that Mahomes isn't, obviously Mahomes is the headline, but Kansas City's returning to the Super Bowl in 2024 after winning last year in large part because of that enormous defensive improvement. So KC's an under team. San Francisco, defensively for much of the season, this team was elite and viewed as elite. However, when we look at San Fran, there's a lot to talk about with the 49ers down the stretch, in terms of what this team did and didn't do and how they played and not. But as much as any other factor, we've seen this defense really struggle. They did not stop Green Bay. They did not stop Detroit. And you can go back further than that. Baltimore with the ball up and down the field. They had a bad game against Arizona. This is a defense that was holding. Let me see this, how many weeks in a row that San Francisco had held opponents under 20 points. Because there was a midseason stretch where it was week after week after week. They had a 4 or 5 week span in November, December. They held every opponent to 20 or less. And they had another span earlier in the season of 4 games where they had held every opponent to 20 or less before losing to Minnesota. So they've had a couple of, but you look at them down the stretch, everybody moved the football against San Francisco, a defense that just was not anywhere near as good as the full season numbers would indicate. So San Fran has shown the ability to come back from behind. They certainly have big play capability in the passing game. San Fran's the over team in this matchup. KC's the under team. And I'm not sure there's any correlation. I'm not sure you say KC and under, San Fran and over. It's not like the 49ers are incapable of winning a low-scoring game or the Chiefs are incapable of winning a high-scoring game. But just in terms of where this total is flowing, where the money is flowing, the fact that one team trending under and feels like an under team, the other team trending over and feels like an over team, likely to keep this total in the same range that we're seeing right now, basically the range of the opener at 47.5. I don't expect any significant movement here. We could see some 48s, we could see some 47s, but we're not going to see any type of big line move on this total.
I like the analysis there, Teddy. And yeah, of course, one game yesterday, Championship Sunday, going under, Baltimore and Kansas City. The other one going over. You almost bring in questions, or at least I do here, Teddy, of, this Kansas City defense. 5-12, by the way, trending towards the under. So Teddy talked about it in terms of an under trending team. It was that's pretty, under trending team, 5-12. If you've been betting the under with Kansas City, you've been making some money here, Teddy. And the way that they played against Lamar Jackson, first off, you can talk about the play calling, why they threw the ball so much. I would bring up the fact, what was up with Lamar Jackson and not running the football more? 8 carries? That's ridiculous this time of year, in my opinion here, Teddy. How much of that is attributed to the Kansas City defense? And can they keep that going? Because, oh, by the way, what is San Francisco, kind of their profile overall? If you watched that game yesterday, Brock Purdy was making plays with his feet, extending plays as well. So I almost think more of a running threat from him as well in the Super Bowl. But just defensively, I think both of these two teams are very stout on the defensive side, Teddy.
Sure, they're supposed to be, but from San Francisco, we haven't seen it. Detroit did whatever they wanted yesterday. Green Bay did whatever they wanted the game before. So it's one thing when the team has the one hiccup game. You say, all right, this is a class team off a subpar performance. When they do it again the next week, you have to start reassessing how good that defense actually is for San Francisco. Now, certainly on paper, it's a dominant unit. They were supposed to be a heck of a lot better than they were in both of those 2 games. But they haven't played like it. And, of course, one team 0-2 ATS here in the postseason, the other team 3-0 ATS here in the postseason. You know where the money's flowing in these type of contests, because when you build a betting bandwagon through the postseason, it just gets bigger, especially when they're defending champs and you have the biggest star in the league. That can't be a surprise to anyone. And when we, I want to look real quick. The last time these two teams played in the Super Bowl, exactly what happened, because people don't remember. Remember, they played in the 2019 Super Bowl, early 2020, I believe it was.
Right before the world shut down.
Yes. That was the day Kobe died, or the weekend Kobe died. So San Fran led that game 20-10. Mahomes threw an interception on the first drive of the second half. Niners had the ball 1st and 10 on their own 20 with a 10-point lead in the second half of that Super Bowl. The rest of the game went like this. San Fran punt, Kansas City touchdown. San Fran punt, Kansas City touchdown. San Fran stopped on downs, Kansas City touchdown. San Fran INT. It wasn't a kneel down. They kneeled down on 3rd down and had to throw an incomplete pass on 4th down in order to run out the clock. But KC went TD. San Fran went punt, downs, interception. And instead of San Fran winning by double digits, it was Kansas City winning by double digits. It was not a wire-to-wire dominant effort. And that was Jimmy G making mistakes down the stretch of that ball game. But it's certainly worth noting what happened the last time San Fran in position to win in the second half. They did not execute well down the stretch of that ball game.
Not at all, Teddy. I remember that Super Bowl very, very vividly. And guys, we're going to be talking about some prop bets on next week's show for the Super Bowl. A lot of those coming out later this week, Teddy, which we'll get into more in depth. But is there anything you wanted to throw out there from like a prop standpoint, I guess, before next Monday that you think sports bettors need to kind of keep in mind if they're going to fire away on some of these early props for the Super Bowl?
Sure. Let me. I'm going to go broad here for just a minute, if you'll allow me. Let me start with some prevailing trends for the Super Bowl. All right.
Love it.
The dogs have been cashing 12-4 the last 16, 16-6 the last 22. However, here we're looking at pick 'em games. I don't know how much that matters. That being said, it's been a dog game for the better part of the last 2 decades. We're talking about cashing Super Bowls. The straight up winner, 47 wins, 7 losses, 3 pushes, which means, again, in a normal year where we have a point spread, it's okay to back your dogs in the money line. That's why we see so much of the action for underdogs coming on the money line in the Super Bowl, which creates legitimate value, oftentimes taking the favorite on the money line at this time of year. That being said, obviously, straight up winner, 47-7 with 3 pushes against the spread. And 56 big games with the posted total. I don't believe there was a posted total for the first one. Since then, they've all had posted totals. And what do we got? 28 overs, 27 unders, 1 push. No trend there whatsoever. Not even a little bit. Now, when we talk about props, look, this is one I want to talk about right here because you want to bet it right when it opens, if it's a prop you like. Team to score last wins the game. It was minus 200 at the open last year. It's cashed 14 straight Super Bowls. The yes has cashed in that. So that's one you may want to keep your eye on. Again, team to score last wins the game. That's 14-0 the last 14 Super Bowls. Kansas City did it again last year. Although if you had that bet with 49ers Lions yesterday, wasn't any good for you. And I think Baltimore covered. Baltimore had the last score as well. Wasn't it? Wasn't that 17-7?
Yeah,
That was 17-10 final. I think it was. Yeah, exactly. So it didn't happen in either championship game, which could potentially mean that may be a mispriced prop again this year. When we talk about a general props approach, look, I understand this is Christmas for sports bettors. This is our annual holiday. We get it, but recognize you're not going to find a whole lot of mispriced props here. That's what the wise guys are doing right now. They're looking for any mistake. And as soon as they see one, they pounce and it gets pounded. And that particular book all of a sudden has a whole lot of liability. But, the most of what we're looking for is books, or what the wise guys are looking for is books making a mistake, books pricing stuff wrong. You're not going to see a ton of that. When it comes to the strategy for props, casual bettors love to risk a little to make a lot. You're betting the parlays. You're betting the safety. There's going to be a safety. There's going to be an overtime. There's going to be a missed extra point, et cetera, et cetera. Pro bettors are comfortable risking a lot to win a little. They'll bet the other side of those, the no safety, the no overtime, the no missed extra point. And again, in general, I'd rather be with pros than Joes on that sort of thing. I'm not looking for the little big priced underdog scores. They don't hit very often. And it's fine to have fun. Look, I reckon it's Christmas, all right? It's fine to have fun. It's fine to enjoy the action. It's not fine to blow your whole bankroll. Bet as much as you want for Super Bowl, but keep those unit sizes small. That's my advice. My biggest piece of advice. Have fun. It's Christmas. But don't blow your bankroll. Small unit sizes. If you want to make a bunch of bets, really small unit sizes. You're going to have action all day. It's just as much fun. You're not going to beat yourself up because you bet small units if you make a profit. You're not going to beat yourself up if you bet small units if you lose. But in my humble opinion, there are Super Bowls I load up on. This isn't going to be one of them. This is not a big ticket. This is not a 5%er. This is nothing close to that in my regard. And from a betting standpoint, have fun, but bet small.
Love it, Teddy. There's some good advice from Teddy Covers at Teddy_Covers on Twitter. Check him out, WagerTalkSportsMemo.com. Teddy, I'll add a couple things. Like, yeah, fire away if you want to. But I've learned from personal experience watching the game, and it kind of correlates with what you're talking about. You know, bettors like to risk a little to make a lot. You know, it's the same thing as like betting overs instead of unders. It's kind of more fun to watch the game when your bets are kind of setting up like that. But you kind of got to remember, guys, it's about winning. You know, don't always go that route. And I'll also add here, Teddy, it's one of those things where if you have too many prop bets, and I've done this from personal experience, it almost gets difficult to watch the game because you got to kind of keep up with how many bets you have, and you don't really know what you're even rooting for at that point. So I would almost say, like, pump the brakes on like peppering the board with so many prop bets. I would kind of limit it just a bit to not have so many plays out there while you're watching the game at, say, a Super Bowl party or whatnot, TC.
I'm with you. I mean, look, you want to bet random stuff, play squares with your friends, do that kind of crap. I don't care. But it's supposed to, this is the key, all right? Christmas is fun. Even if you get crappy presents, Christmas is a fun morning. As a kid, it's the best day of, Super Bowl's supposed to be fun. Win or lose, it's supposed to be fun. And it's okay to make it's okay to pepper the board. Play small units, have some action, have some good time. This is key. If you're live betting, don't drink. If you're drinking, don't live bet. Do not make that mistake. So make your choice before kickoff. Hey, we're going to have fun today. We're going to party. We're going to have a good time. We're going to watch some props. We make a couple of bucks. Or we're going to dial in, screw everybody. I'm watching the game by myself in the basement, and I'm going to make some money live betting. That's fine. In my world, it's fine. It's a perfectly acceptable approach for how you want to deal with the big game, the Super Bowl Sunday. But don't mix drinking and betting. Don't mix smoking weed and betting, whatever it is you're doing. They don't mix. They mix very poorly. And on a day where people party too much and bet too much, the last thing you want to do is wake up on Monday morning after Super Bowl and go, oh, crap, what did I just do? So if you want to bet, live bet, have fun, live bet. But do it sober. Yeah, that's key. Key.
Words of wisdom there, guys. Love the trends here, Teddy. Fire away any questions in the live chat. Also in the comments below, guys. You guys chiming in from Essex, England. Shout out to you. We had Peru in the house. Wherever you're watching from, let us know. It's always fun to see different viewership all over the world, all over the country, guys. Those trends, underdogs, 12-4, 16-6 runs. Straight up winner, 47-7-3 against the number. Over-under, 28-27, so been right on the money there, Teddy. And team to score last wins the game. 14-0. Team to score last wins the game. However, both of the championship games that did not come in. That's kind of an interesting one, Teddy. Maybe we can dive into that more in the question and answer. We also have a trend here from our live chat from Coin with a good one. Kansas City, second half unders have been gold. Now 2-18, 90% to the under So for whatever that's worth, Teddy, their defensive changes at halftime, they're doing something right. That is a great one there, Coin. 2-18, 90% to the under. Maybe something to bring into the Super Bowl. As you also brought up, props there. I want to add on to something you said. Some of these props guys have changed in the last couple years. Like some of these trends, the market's getting more efficient. One thing I did in this last time these two teams played in the Super Bowl, 2019, right before the world shut down, I was in Las Vegas sweating out a big bet on the Chiefs to punt before score. And it was a pick 'em price, minus 105 on each side, Teddy. Now that because of the Super Bowl, the fanfare, the extended time that the players are on the sideline, the timing's thrown off. And I thought that it affected offense more than defense. And sure enough, it came through. I won that bet. But I've since noticed, just in the last 4 years, that number has very much shifted. Like sports bettors are on to that. So the market becoming more efficient in props is something that I would throw out there. You really got to dig deep. Don't just kind of go off of some of these trends, because it's the quote unquote value is kind of sucked out of this a little bit. But guys, we got questions coming up. Teddy, is there anything else we kind of missed on before we knock out some of these questions?
Value. You brought up the term value right there. There's not a ton of value on many of these, on the vast majority of these Super Bowl bets. All right. They're action bets. You're hoping you can get a 55% edge. You're hoping you get a 60% edge. But this is not a game where you're going to find a ton of mispriced action. And anything that's mispriced, if it's once been in the betting market for an hour, it's not mispriced anymore. Many of the sharpest bettors that I know go, I'm not going to say essentially all in, but they essentially go all in this week. They're betting props like you can't even imagine. All right. But they're not betting props. They're betting the under 123.5 over here and the over 117.5 over there. They're betting both sides of a lot of this stuff. But they're not shy about getting involved in the Super Bowl prop market because the bookmakers are so aggressive in trying to create as much action as they can. This is their last big day till March Madness. Let's make as much as we can today. And the wise guys find room in that pantheon to find quote unquote value bets. The problem is they don't last very long. Someone pounces it and then it's gone at that particular book. So when it comes to finding great value, good luck. Maybe you'll find some. But don't expect the Super Bowl itself to be a game that just dozens of great bets. I mean, these are not lines that are being set where they are by accident. And with billions of dollars of liability, the best bookmakers in the world know what they're doing.
That they do. A lot of smart people doing it. We got a lot of people here in the chat box. Christian with a little joke. Drinking equals great gambling. I disagree with you there. Love the joke, though. All is welcome. Priest Mahomes in the house. Just wants to say hello. We also got John saying, Teddy, the gambling dad we need. All good comments here. So comment of the show. Teddy, thought you'd like that one. Little information here about the two teams, guys. Both of them staying in Lake Las Vegas, which is about 20, 30 minutes outside of town. The Chiefs going to be using the Raiders facilities in Henderson, Nevada, right next door, kind of the town next door to Las Vegas. The 49ers going to be using the UNLV practice facility. Teddy, first question up. The location, Allegiant Stadium, not far from where you're talking right now. A dome, a controlled climate, artificial turf, however you want to put it. Is there any home field advantage here? You might point towards the 49ers, kind of less travel time. In my personal opinion, no. We have extra preparation time. I don't give either team, if there is a few more 49ers fans in the stadium, we got to remember the Super Bowl is more of like a corporate atmosphere. I don't give any home field advantage to either of these two teams. What is your thoughts on it?
Agree wholeheartedly. I give no home field advantage to either team. I don't think that the venue helps San Francisco or helps Kansas City in any way. Being in Lake Las Vegas is probably a good idea. Lake Las Vegas is a little bit out of town. It's a little bit removed from the Strip. It's a good 20, 25 minutes from the Strip at least, maybe a half hour. So it gets them away from the hubbub a little bit. That's a smart move by the NFL to put the players out there. When it comes to the practice facility, I'll say this. Raiders practice facility is nicer, a heck of a lot nicer than UNLV's practice facility. Newer and nicer. I don't know if that matters or not, but does that advantage Kansas City? I don't think it matters a whole lot unless someone from San Fran tears an Achilles in a crappy practice facility or something like that. But in my mind, interesting to talk about from a gambling standpoint. There's not a whole lot there.
Teddy, we got -1 here. You talked about this a little bit, kind of being a smarter bet on the money line or the spread bet. At this number, -1 right now, is it smarter either way on the underdog or the favorite to bet the money line or to actually lay that one or take the +1? Any opinion there?
So you can find -110 on the money line for San Francisco right now. That is a better bet than -1, -110. All right. you can lay one and push on one at the same price as you can lay pick 'em and win on one. So you see what I'm saying? Right now, San Fran money line available at -110. It's not widely available, but it's out there. So if I have a choice between San Fran -1, -110, and San Fran pick 'em -110, money line, I'll take the San Fran pick 'em -110 without thinking about it. Did I answer the question?
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to be a whole lot of difference. I just I always have questions myself. The one number where I do bet the money line is the 1.5 number, because I've laid 1.5 and lost with the team winning by 1, and that is one of the ones that hurts the most, Teddy. So that's the one number.
1.5, 2 is your sweet spot in my mind for if you're taking the dog. I've seen +100 / -105. There's even -110 out there. On the money line, and on the side, you're +1. I like the +1 there as opposed to an even money. I'd rather take if it turns out to be as close a game as we think it is, as it's supposed to. I mean, again, you get pick 'em even money, +1, -110. Mathematically, there's not a huge difference between the two. Personally, I'll take the +1.
Any interest in any alt lines? You ever dig into those, both total or side, Teddy, or is it just they charge you a little bit too much?
So I made a case. I had so much fun with I had the Falcons every which way alt lines against New England. -14.5. I was sitting there looking at the payday of my life. Yeah, that was fun. 20-3. That's one. Yeah. I have -7.5, -10.5, -14.5. I think I had -17.5. Yeah. So yes, occasionally I will look at the alt line in a situation where I think one team has an edge, like I thought Atlanta had an edge over New England in that game. This is a pick'em game. I'm not getting involved in the alt, and it is a pick'em game. I'm not getting involved in an alt line here, and you're not going to, always know that you're juiced for the alt lines. They're going to have you lay 3.5. They're going to have you lay 7.5. Be aware that alt lines are designed to hook you around key numbers. Hook you meaning lose by a half point.
Yeah, they'll get you there, guys. Free range in that comments from last week. Greetings from the city of Eternal Spring, Medellin, Colombia. Well, shout out to you, and thanks for joining us as well. Teddy, love the show, man. I mean, we're digging into props a lot next week, guys, so come back and join us 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. NFL opening line report, Super Bowl props edition coming to you. We'll be hitting it, matchup on the field props. We'll also be talking a little of those what the exotic props, if you will, maybe some national anthem, how long it lasts. That's always a good one. The coin toss, is that a good one to bet? If you like betting it, make sure to go find those -101 or -102. Don't be paying -110 on heads or tails, guys. That's some advice from myself in terms of what to bet. Might as well put more money in your pocket type deal. But Teddy, I'll throw it over to you, man. Any final thoughts here before we shut it down?
Yeah, next week we'll do a good analysis on the props, Drew. We did, every year we have 2 Super Bowl shows, and the second one is props focused. So Don't you worry, guys. I'll get you guys. We'll be able to track the flow of money. We'll know what's getting hit. We'll talk about some numbers, and certainly next week we'll deep dive into props. And of course, I'll answer all your questions, because one of the good things, we don't have 16 games to talk about in 40 or 50 minutes, is that I got a little bit of time to respond to comments and all that. I really appreciate all of the great comments in the comments section every week on YouTube. Thank you, guys. Both Drew and I get in there. We respond to the comments. We answer questions. We appreciate it very much. All the likes, all the follow. There's more than 140,000 of you guys who are following WagerTalk TV right now on YouTube, which is insane to me. If you haven't joined, become part of the family, man. Just click the bell right now, and you'll get instant alerts when we go live each and every Monday during football season. So I encourage you to do that over at youtube.com. And of course, when it comes to promotions, we do want to let you know about what's going on today over at wagertalk.com. That's a fill your cart promotion. It's real simple. Take 25% off anything and everything in your cart. Anything you want to put in your cart, you just take 25% off. Plain and simple. And of course, use promo code CART25 at checkout. Take advantage of that offer. Again, CART25 at checkout will give you 25% off anything and everything in your cart all day today on Monday, including any Super Bowl wagers that some cappers may have already posted. That's all I got, Drew. How about you?
We got Kings in the house saying, Teddy, any good non-game bets you ever played? National anthem, Gatorade color, coin flip. We'll be hitting it in depth, but is it anything else you want to kind of on the field props here, Teddy?
Oh, the hilarious thing is the national anthem, when, with the over-under, and then the one guy times it at 158 and one guy times it at 157. And then you see someone who had access to the dress rehearsal the day before, and the money starts pounding in on the under, and then, the movement on the national anthem total is hilarious to watch. And hilarious, obviously, meaning that, no one's putting big bets down on that, I hope. But it can be wildly entertaining to pay attention to the length of the national anthem, because information skirts out in a bit, and of course the timing, who's got that stopwatch, is always key. Was that 157 or 158? I don't know, but the line was 157 and a half. What year was that? You remember that? There was all this controversy.
Oh yeah, a couple of years ago. And one thing I'll say is, guys, you got to go quick, because the global books out there, they're watching that too online. And as soon as it comes off, they take it off. And in terms of big bets, I think they actually limit, or at least you can only put like $100 down on it. So it's not like you can really put that much money, even if you wanted to.
Oh, now you can. There's no limit on the coin flip. They'll let you bet as much as you want on the coin flip.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
But anything where there's an edge,
the Gatorade color and stuff. Yeah. I
don't know.
That's
another one. You see the Gatorade color, you see wild steam moves as well. In the 24 hours before kickoff, where someone thinks they know something or someone sees something. The blue one year was a big dog, and the guy took a bunch of steam and ended up cashing. I mean, pay attention to the sharp money on the Gatorade on game day, or the game before game day, and that's might be worth something paying attention to. But again, fun bets, little bit of action, pizza money, nothing real on these type of wagers, please.
He's Teddy Covers. I'm Drew Martin, guys. He said it before. Please comment below. Let us know where you're watching from, where you agree, where you disagree, what you're betting on. Any questions as well, we'll answer them next week's show. We're going deep dive into the prop bets for Super Bowl LVIII, San Francisco 49ers, Kansas City Chiefs. For TC, I am Drew Martin. Guys, comment below, like the video, and we'll be back next week. Until then, cash those tickets.